Hello everyone, welcome to IAS Bharat. Today in this session, we will see the polity and ethics case studies question which has been asked in UPSC 2026 Prelims questions. Let's start it. Okay, so question number, actually we are following series number D. In the series numbers D, the polity question has been started from question number 79. Okay, so question number 79. In this question, X was addressing a seminar on the meaning of the term law as provided under the Article 13, Part 3 of the Constitution of India. X explained that the meaning of the term law in the Constitution of India was very comprehensive. It included ordinance, orders, and even rules and regulations. Here we have to carefully read the sentence. The X said that in the Article 13 included ordinance, orders, and even rules and regulation. In that scenario, Y pointed out that the term law in Article 13 also included customs or usage having in the territory of India the force of law, to which X was not convinced. So, in this passage, we clearly understand that according to X, Article 13 includes only ordinance, orders, and rules and regulation. But X not accepting customs and usages is part of Article 13. But on the other hand, Y said that even customs or usage is also part of Article 13. So, whose argument is finally correct? So, in this question, we have to understand the Article 13(3) subclause A. So, it clearly says, the Article 13 clause 3 subclause A clearly says that law according to Article 13 is also covers customs and procedures, customs and usages. So, here the correct answer is option D. The views of only Y is correct. Okay, moving on to the next question. Okay, moving on to the next question. Consider the following statements with reference to the Constitution of India. Okay, in this question, first statement, there is no article in the Constitution of India that specifies that Constitution of India will be officially called the Constitution of India. Actually, this statement is wrong. Article 393 clearly mentioned that the Constitution of India can be considered as, officially can consider as Constitution of India. So, first statement is wrong. Second statement, there is no article in the Constitution of India that specifies that the Indian Independence Act 1947 and the Government of India Act 1935 stand repeal. Actually, this statement is also wrong. It is mentioned in Article 395. And the next statement, there is no article in the Constitution of India that mentions 26 January 1950 as the date of commencement of the Constitution of India. Actually, this statement is also wrong. Article 394 clearly mentions the date of the commencement of the Constitution of India. So, the correct answer is, there is no correct statement. Okay. Moving on to the next question. Which of the following statements with regard to the persons with disabilities in India are correct? Okay. The Rights of Persons with Disabilities Act, an act passed by the Parliament of India in 2018. Actually, in this statement, every facts are correct, but the year is not 2018, it is 2016. So, this statement is wrong. Next statement. The Shugmaya Bharat Abhiyan focuses on achieving universal accessibility for persons with disabilities across 3 key domains: built infrastructure, transport systems, and information and communication technology. Actually, this statement is correct. The Accessible India campaign is literally, it's a reflection of the Swigmaya Bharat Abhiyan. So this statement is correct. And third statement, the National Divyajn Finance and Development Corporation is a public sector organization set up by the Ministry of Corporate Affairs. Actually, in this statement, it is not set up by the Ministry of Corporate Affairs. It is set up by the Ministry of Social Justice. So this statement is also wrong. So in this question, the answer is 2 only. Okay. Next question. Question number 82. Consider the following statements about the provisions pertaining to the scheduled castes and scheduled tribes in India. The provisions regarding the administrations of the tribal areas in the state of Assam, Meghalaya, Tripura and Mizoram are given in the 5th schedule of the Constitution. It is not given in the 5th schedule, rather it is in the 6th schedule. Okay, so statement 1 is wrong. Some tribes of India are entitled to exemption from paying income tax on certain incomes. Actually, this statement is correct. Income Tax Act 1961 Section 10 clearly mentioned this. So statement 2 is correct. Third statement, the Constitution of India provides for the reservation of seats in the panchayats for women belonging to the scheduled castes and scheduled tribes. This statement is also correct. 73rd Constitutional Amendment Act gives 1/3 of seats for the women's, especially belongs to scheduled castes and scheduled tribes. So this statement is also correct. So answer is, there are 2 correct statements that include statement 2 also. So this is the answer for the question number 82. Okay, next question. Consider the following statements in respect of questions asked by the members in the Parliament of India. Okay, in this question, this is an interesting question. And unstarred questions are those to which a member desires an oral answers in the house. It is not oral answers, it is a written answer. So this statement is wrong. The starred questions are those to which a member desires a written answer. So this is not a correct, because the starred questions for which the members has to in oral manner. So actually the statements, and they have reversed the definitions. And statement number 3, no supplementary questions can be asked on the unstarred questions. Actually this statement is correct. So here clearly we can understand that the first 2 statements, the definition has been reversed, and the last statement, it has been correct. So the correct answer is, there is only one correct statement. The correct statement is the third statement. Okay. Moving on to the next question. Consider the following statements about the Committee on Welfare of Scheduled Caste and Scheduled Tribes in the Parliament of India. Although the members of this committee are elected from both the House of the Parliament, the chairperson of this committee is appointed by the chairman of Rajya Sabha. No, it's a chairman of Lok Sabha. 20 members are elected by the Rajya Sabha and 10 members are elected by the Lok Sabha. No, 20 members from Lok Sabha, 10 members from Rajya Sabha. So second statement is also wrong. Third statement, no ministers except for the Union Minister of Social Justice and Empowerment is eligible to become the member of this committee. No. So actually in majority of parliamentary committees, generally ministers are not part of this committee. So here is also the same rule. No ministers are part of this committee. And fourth statement, members are elected for a fixed term of 2 years. No, not 2 years, 1 year. So there is no correct statement in this question. Answer is option D. Okay. So moving on to the next question. With reference to the organizations under the Government of India, consider the following statements. So here the Central Economic Intelligence Bureau. The Central Economic Intelligence Bureau, its function has been correctly mentioned. But the controlling union ministry is not a Ministry of Home Affairs, it is a Ministry of Finance. So this statement is wrong. Serious Fraud Investigation Office, second one. So Serious Fraud Investigation Office comes under the Ministry of Corporate Affairs. So this statement is also wrong. Third statement, Central Bureau of Investigation, it comes under Ministry of Personal and Public Grievances. This statement is correct. So out of these 3, third statement is correct. So answer is A, 1 only. So how many of statements row given like correctly matched. There are 3 rows, but this row is correctly matched. So answer is 1 only. Okay. Next, moving on to a next interesting area. This year prelims, UPSC now come up with some ethics based case studies. So we will try to bring some answers to this case studies. Okay. Question number 76. Mr. X, a senior officer, was overseeing a critical vaccination program during a pandemic. He found that a private service provider responsible for the vaccine distribution was compromising on quality to make profits. Despite the immense pressures to manage the issue due to vested interest, he raised his voice based on the principle of public administration, which he learned during the various training programs attended across his career. He reported this issue to the appropriate vigilance authority and halted the contract to ensure the citizens' welfare. Okay, this is the case study. In this case study, what we learned? What are the public qualities we learned? So the question is, which among the following principles of public administration was most strongly demonstrated by the Mr. X action? They are given the 4 options. The first option, esprit de corps, which means team spirit or loyalty. Here he is not showcasing the team spirit or loyalty, because if he gives importance to team spirit, then he has to accept his colleagues' demands, but he is not succumbed by the situation. So option A is not the correct option. Here the most appropriate answer is accountability. Accountability means what? Accountability means being answerable for your action. Either a public sector or private sector companies should be accountable to the people. So here the particular person X, a senior officer, ensures that a particular company compromising the quality standards. If they compromise the quality standards, then it would affect the people's interest. So here Mr. X clearly used the principle of accountability in the public administration and thereby ensuring that the particular contract has been cancelled. So here clearly the perfect answer is accountability, and he is not delegating his decision making to others. So this is not the option. And with respect to accountability and equity, which is more suitable and more appropriate answer is accountability. So equity is not also the part. So in this question the answer is accountability. Next question. In a multi-ethnic district where both economic competition and historical grievances frequently led to the community tension, a flashpoint has arisen with the government decisions to allocate the land for the waste management facility near a tribal hamlet, sparking the protest by the tribal community, which claimed that the land was sacred and critical to their cultural identity. These lines are really important lines. At the same time, the urban residents and local industries is supporting the project, citing they also have some concerns, citing the severe solid waste challenges and health concerns due to the lack of proper disposable site. The conflict has escalated with the road blockades, social media campaigns and allegations of police excess. So there are clearly 2 groups. One groups want the particular project, but other groups opposing the project. So in that context, as a responsible government official, you are tasked with resolving the situation through the mediation, ensuring a sustainable outcome that balance the environmental needs. So here clear cut words, ensuring the sustainable outcomes that balance the environmental needs, tribal rights and urban public health. So in this context, what is a correct option for you? So in this context, what is the correct option for you? They are giving some following options. Option A successful conflict resolution process must begin with acknowledging the cultural concerns of the protesting tribal community before discussing the technical alternatives, which is very, very important. As a civil servant, we have to first give importance to the sensitivity of the people, their cultural values. So So, successful conflict resolution process must begin with acknowledging the cultural concerns. So, statement 1 is correct. And then the government should move ahead with the project without delay to address the urban health concerns which outweigh the sentiments of the small group. No, this statement is wrong, because the government has to give importance to every sections of the society. It has to listen the concerns of the every sections of the society. The government cannot take a decision and ignore the tribal people's issues. So this statement is wrong. Third statement, creating a multi-stakeholder dialogue platform including tribal leaders, environmental experts and municipal representatives. This statement is correct. It inclusive and multi-stakeholder approach, so it is a correct statement. And fourth statement, conducting an independent environmental and social impact assessment and sharing the findings transparently with the both sides to facilitate the evidence-based decision making. Yes, exactly. It is also ensuring the transparency in the projects and bringing people confidence and trust in the project. So this all statement is also right. So answer is 1, 3 and 4. So moving on to the next question. Question number 78. Mrs. X is a mid-level civil service official working in the urban development department of a major city. Recently, she involved in approving a contract for a public infrastructure project. Here, listen the following statements carefully. A new community park. During the approval process, she issued a piece of confidential information indicating that one of the shortlisted contractors had a history of poor workmanship and allegation of corruption in other cities. Clearly need to follow this statement carefully. Though nothing had been legally proven. So it is clearly mentioned that one of the shortlisted contractors had a history of poor workmanship and allegations. Here clearly note the term allegations of corruption in other cities, though nothing had been legally proven. So clearly you have to understand these statements. Then the head of the department, Mr. Y, advise her not to disclose this information to the project committee or the public because it could delay the project and damage the city's reputations. So however, X believes that withholding such information compromises the transparency and public trust. So here clearly the case study reflects the two spectrum of the issue. On the one hand, we have to follow the transparency and public trust. But at the other hand, we also have to protect the institutional trust and institutional dignity among the people. So in this context, what is the solution? So what can X do? UPSC gives some 3 options. Immediately disclose the information to the project committee and the people and the public. No, this statement is wrong. Because if she immediately disclose the information, then there is a problem. It will damage the institutional image, and that particular contractor also is not legally proven. He might involve some corruption. There is an allegation of corruption, so it is not proved completely. So before that, if you disclose the information in the public, this is not a clear-cut option. So option 1 is not a proper option. Next, option 2, recommended the removing the contractor from the shortlist to protect the project integrity. It is a more extreme step because we don't know the contractor original history. It is clearly mentioned in the paragraph that it is an allegation of corruption, and clearly it is also mentioned that nothing had been legally proven. So in this case, without clear-cut evidence-based decision making, we cannot remove the contractor from the shortlist. So it might be a prejudiced thought. A civil servant should not act based on prejudiced thought. A civil servant should act based on rule of law. So in that case, option 2 is not advisable. And third option, propose a limited disclosure to an oversight committee while keeping the information confidential from the public for the time being. this is a better option because it balances. On the one hand, you are allowed to give the confidential information to your immediate seniors. On the other hand, this particular information has not been openly communicated to the people. So here you can clearly balance your transparency, accountability and honesty values. At the same time, you can also protect the institutional image and public trust also. So given the three statement, the proper statement is option 3, and these are the some important case studies which has been asked in the UPSC exams. And that's all from this particular discussions. And finally, we have discussed some important polity and ethics questions in this sessions. Hopefully this will be useful for you, and we will meet in another session in short term. Thanks.